Hey, I'm back again with another little, short video. I was just going to show you, I'm going to be replacing this outer tie rod end on this Chevy 3500, and you can see it's got some wear in it. But a lot of people, I see a lot of people, especially if they're going to reuse the tie rod end, have trouble getting these off. Most people want to pull this nut off and just start, beating on top of the threads, and that will damage your threads, of course. Even if you back this nut off and hit it, it still mushrooms the threads out if you hit it much at all. And then, another option that people like to do is they like to use a pickle fork. And, these things work pretty good, but that little grease boot right there, pickle fork destroys those. So, if you are reusing the tie rod end or, whatever you're getting off, if you use a pickle fork, then it destroys that, so it won't hold grease after that. I want to show you a little trick, and this kind of applies to anything that has a taper lock design. Some of your big truck diesel engines, I think maybe the old style Max and stuff, I think they had taper lock harmonic balancers and things like that, but there's lots of things that have a taper lock, and that's when well, I have to get it off and show you. It's going to take me 20 minutes to explain it, or 5 to show you, but I've not touched, other than just slightly breaking this nut loose earlier, I've not touched this tie rod end at all, so I'm going to see, without editing or anything else, how to get this off without damaging it. And I'm going to have to pause the camera and put it down, because as you can see, the whole thing's turning, so I'm going to have to either get something and hold the threads, or hit this and try to drive it up in there. Which actually, with this turning, it's probably going to kill what I want to show you, but let's see. Well, I'm back after I got the nut off. I'm not going to be able to show you what I was trying to. It's probably the first time ever that one of these have came loose that easy. But if you noticed, whenever I started taking the nut off, the whole shaft started turning, which that meant that it was pretty loose in this steering knuckle anyways. But I'm going to show you the process anyways. I mean, this thing is really loose, so it's just going to fall out, effortlessly anyways. But the same thing applies even if you do have one that's stuck. But where it's taper locked, what you need to do is just jar the housing, or whatever's it's been held by. And you don't have to have a big hammer or anything. It's just a lot of repetitive small taps, does just as good as somebody sitting there trying to whale on it with a sledgehammer. So, but you would just and usually you can loosen them up, and they'll fall out about like that. Now, like I say, you could see where I took the nut off of this one, that the shaft was turning, so I knew it wasn't going to be a tight fit anyways, because if it's turned inside the housing, then that means it's already worn out or loose. But yeah, even for one that isn't loose, you do that same thing. You can, and 90% of the time it'll work. Every now and then you'll get one that's still pretty stubborn. But yeah, I just use this little old tiny hammer and hit it on a couple different sides. And sometimes if you're trying to save it too, you can hit the outside of the tie rod end, or even over here, just whatever you can do to jar it. But yeah, I figured I'd show you that little trick. And no, I don't, this isn't the only jack holding the whole truck up. I also have a 25-ton railroad jack that is supporting the whole truck, and I just put this over here to raise the steering assembly and suspension and stuff up a little bit to make it easier. But alrighty, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Oh, and I almost forgot, I was going to tell you what a taper lock is if you didn't know. After I got it out, I almost forgot. I actually did forget. But it's anytime you have a shaft, or anything like that that's tapered, it'll be bigger here, and it'll start out big on one end, and it'll taper down, kind of like that. And the inside of this is made the same way. It'll start out small and then taper into big. And so yeah. Best way to get loose any kind of taper lock is just a lot of jarring and stuff. I mean, you can press them apart and things, but it's just they're kind of designed to be taken apart with repetitive hits, and so, alrighty, thanks.